All right, guys, so the time is finally here. Yep, we are going to spill the beans and answer all the questions that we've been getting this past week about this truck right here, and also answer what happened to Fancy Hawk. So stay tuned.
Tiny answer here is a 2020 Peterbilt 579. Well, right now it has 687,000. We bought it with 679,000. This used to be a team truck. It turned California rounds out of North Carolina. We bought this truck for $88,500, I guess. That was the price, is what we paid, $88,500. It's pretty much got a fresh engine in it. And it's got a clutch that's been put in it and an actuator that's been put in it. So the reason why it has a fresh engine is because they were testing some sort of an oil additive, this trucking company. They were getting sponsored to run this, and at 600,000 miles they were going to pull the guts out of the motor and inspect it. So in order to do that, or send it out to analysis, in order to do that, they got a whole fresh end frame done. Now, speaking of motors,
there's your answer, guys. That's what motor it has.
It is a X15 Efficiency Series. I don't want the Performance Series in a truck like this, because Performance Series doesn't get as good of a fuel mileage. This engine, this actual whole powertrain is down sped, meaning it operates at a really low RPM, meaning it gets really good fuel mileage. That's what I wanted. I set this, when I brought it home, at 500 horsepower, 1850 torque. Fancy is set at 500 horsepower, 1850 torque. But Fancy will outrun this truck any day of the week. Now, it won't get far because this truck will pass them at the pumps. It makes a lot of power down low. The party's over by about 1500 RPM, I'd say 16. But it pulls so hard down low, it won't drop a gear. I mean, it just has so much torque, it's insane. Now, some of you might say, well, it's not a true downsped engine because it's an X15 and it's got a long rod and all this stuff. Yes, but they designed it to operate like this. That 1850 foot-pounds of torque is at 950 RPM. Considering that it's got a fresh end frame, I'm not really going to worry about it. I'm just going to run it like they spec'd it, and we're just going to go from there. So, the transmission in this truck, it is an automatic. Actually, it's not an automatic. It's an automated manual. But yes, it's shifted automatically. It is a Eaton 12-speed Endurant transmission, which what makes this an integrated powertrain for PACCAR, because it's like a Cummins PACCAR Eaton joint venture, right? Now, it's a 1850 series torque transmission, and it's great for fuel mileage. Now, I've driven automatics, I've driven the I-shifts, and I've driven the DT12 Freightliners. This is in between the DT12 and the I-shift when you're talking about crispness. I'd say it's very close to the I-shift. It's a very good transmission in how it shifts. It's much better shifting than the DT12, and it's more precise. The gear ratios on this are really far apart in the top end because this thing has 264 rears. Yes, it has 264 rears. At 70 miles an hour, we're turning shy of 1200 RPM. And this is where this thing makes the majority of its power, and that's why it gets good fuel mileage. They are Meritor PACCAR rear ends, 264. The truck sits on a 245-inch wheelbase. It's got flex air suspension. It's got leafs in the front. It's got no air ride in the front. Has discs in the front, brakes, and it's a very good riding truck.
So we have been asked, why did we bobtail back with this truck as opposed to taking a load? The plan originally was we wanted to take the truck under a load with SEVA. However, timing was not on our side. We had where we were planning to take Thanksgiving week off regardless. And so we decided to go ahead and get the truck on the Monday before Thanksgiving and make it home in time to have our turkey dinner. If we had hauled a load back, it probably would have interfered with the holiday. So we just made the choice, you know, let's just bobtail. So that's what we did. We bobtailed the sucker home and made it back in time to have turkey dinner. A lot of people are asking comfort. I think this truck's pretty darn comfortable. How about you? Yeah. A comfort between Fancy and this truck, night and day. This truck rides a lot smoother. There's so much more room, which in turn makes things just a lot more comfortable.
Your setback axle trucks have a much larger leaf spring in the front, so they're going to ride a lot softer. Even though the rear suspension is physically the same, it's got a way longer leaf spring in the front, which is always going to ride a lot better.
So one thing I noticed driving, we deal with a lot of wind. Usually wind really fatigues you. If you're not quite sure, like, well, how's that possible? I guess the best way to explain that would be like if you're constantly pushing against something and it's pushing back at you, eventually you're going to get tired. So when you're steering this truck, you're pushing against that wind. So it makes you tired. I noticed that this truck kind of blows around a lot more because obviously it's a lot taller. The axle setback difference between Fancy. So there's a lot of different things that make it where it handles different in the wind. But despite all that, I do feel less fatigued driving this truck because I think the steering's a little softer and easier to handle. Just with the ride being easier. I guess even using the automated transmission makes it easier. So definitely at the end of my shift, I'm not as exhausted as I used to be. Yep. And so that's pretty neat.
I agree.
I think this is a perfect team operation truck, and that's why we bought it.
This is exactly why we bought it.
Yeah.
But we also bought it because Alice can't open the fuel caps on the Kenworth.
No, I can't. As much as I have tried, I cannot. I will admit that.
We bought it because it's a team truck. Fancy was not very team friendly anymore. All right, so numbers. Again, main reason why I bought this truck. So our route is approximately 4,880 miles, sometimes more, never less. Last week it was more. It was 5,065 miles because we did that little detour. This was our first week running this truck. We were still learning how to drive this truck. I'm not used to running a truck down the road at 1,150 RPM and expecting it to not blow up. Over 20 years of driving, that's exactly everything. It goes against everything I believe in, But this truck does it. That's what the new way of trucks, and that's what we've been doing it. So the first half of the week, we were kind of not doing that. But the second week, we just let the truck do what it needs to do, and we realized that that's what it likes to do. This truck averaged 7.89 miles per gallon. 7.89 miles per gallon of those 5,065 miles. Now, we ran through some horrible winds, we went through some horrible mountains, and it was damn cold. So in the summertime, I'm pretty sure that this truck will do a lot better. Fancy has been struggling to do 6.1, 6.2 because, again, the cold and the winds, and we've been fighting it. And yes, we haul light loads, but it's cold, it's windy, nothing you can do about it. So on average, we've been spending $4,200 a week in fuel. $4,200 a week in fuel on Fancy. Fancy costs us 85 cents a mile to operate. Not bad for a hooded truck. It's really not. Most guys are operating at $1 a mile, if not more. Fancy was at 85 cents a mile, 85, 86. This truck, mind you, I spent we spent $2,882 last week on fuel on 5,065 miles. Last week we ran on Fancy was 4,880 miles, and we spent $4,200 in fuel. Just a tad over. I'm just going to round it down. It was $4,200. If you do the math, that is $1,312 less in this truck on our route. This is why this truck was purchased, because it's a team truck. It gets good fuel mileage. It runs a lot of miles. It needs to get good fuel mileage, because for us, the bottom line is, well, we need to make a profit here. Looking cool is one thing. And also, as you can see, it's looking cool now. Money and taking care of our family is our number one priority. Okay? Siva, trucking, our business, is our number one priority. We love doing videos, but I'm sorry, we're not making a killing at it. We're just having fun at it. So we need to make money. And this is a big savings. I mean, when you figure that out, that's like over $60,000 a year at current fuel prices. A year. 60 grand. It'll almost pay this truck off.
And keep in mind, like, results may vary. Because if you're someone who's a solo and you buy an aerodynamic truck, you're not going to be saving the kind of money we are, because we run a team operation. So just keep that in mind when you're hearing our numbers.
Right. And what I'm saying is solo. If I were to run solo, I wouldn't be considering buying a truck, right? I would keep running Fancy, because I think if I run 2,500 miles a week, I would maybe save that $550 or so So I mean, if you're getting into a payment on a truck, and your payment on something like this is going to be $2,800, it's going to cover your payment, but are you going to be happy driving it? Well, I mean, I tell you what, this is my first aerodynamic truck. I'm very happy driving this truck. I don't mind driving this truck. It's a great truck, and it's a Peterbilt. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a red oval. Now it's not a hooded large car with stacks and air cleaners, but again, profit. That's the bottom line. And I feel that my conclusion to this is, if you're running 2,000 miles a week and you have a paid for hooded truck, it doesn't make sense for you to go out and buy an aerodynamic truck. It really doesn't. A brand new one at that, or a slightly used one like this one. It doesn't, because unless you want a new truck, I recommend this. This is a great truck. This is a great powertrain. It does the job. I would recommend it for sure. But is it going to be profitable for you in the long run when you're figuring payments and insurance costs? Because you have to look at the bright side. When you buy a newer truck, your insurance is going to go through the roof. Now for us, it's different because we're leased on. We have a different insurance provider, and it doesn't change as much. But if you have, your own authority, your insurance is going to go up for sure, a lot. So that being said, it probably doesn't make sense. If you have a paid for truck, hold on to that paid for truck. If you're turning the miles we do, and you're running team, and you have a hooded truck, this thing is going to make a lot more money in a year over a hooded truck, especially if you have wonky specs.
All right, guys. So probably the number one question we've gotten: where is Fancy?
What happened to Fancy? Did you guys sell Fancy? Did you guys trade Fancy in? Did you guys light him on fire? Did you guys ditch him? Did you guys...
Is Fancy a show truck now? Is Fancy an RV hauler? Is Fancy turned out to pasture? Where is Fancy? Well, hold on. Well, guys, there's Fancy. So Fancy is a working girl.
Working guy.
Whatever Fancy is. Fancy likes to work. So why did we buy two trucks? Wait, why did I say buy? Why do we have two trucks?
I don't know. Why do we have two trucks?
Why do we have two trucks?
Well, so you guys have been asking, and
some of you got it.
Some of you got it. Some of you didn't get it. Some of you assumed, like Trucker Ron.
And overreacted.
Overreacted and got butthurt because you're my favorite YouTuber. She out there to get rid of a fucking hooded truck. Anyway, Fancy's going to go back to work.
Fancy is going to go back to work.
Fancy's not being an RV hauler. Fancy's not a show truck. He's far from a show truck. He's a great looking truck, but I mean, let's face it, he ain't a show truck. Some of these guys have really nice trucks. Fancy's a great truck though, but Fancy's going back to work. This truck is a team truck. That's what it's going to do. It's going to continue running team. That truck, that's going to run solo. It's a solo truck because it's got a lot of miles on it. And it gets bad fuel mileage. It does good fuel mileage for what she is. Like compared to a lot of other people who have W900s, I think we are blessed with what Fancy gives us. Fancy gets pretty good.
Team truck, solo truck. What does that mean? Well, Martin and I have decided that we are going to adopt.
I thought you were going to say we're getting a divorce.
No, we have decided though to become fleet owners. So we have purchased this truck. Not for ourselves. We have purchased this truck for a team that we have yet to hire.
Yes.
So we are looking at this in a bigger picture. We are building a fleet here at SEVA. They've offered us a very good solo route, which is why the whole idea came in our head to expand our business. When this solo route was offered to us, it was like, man, we want that. And so we said, yes, give us that route. We are going to go buy another truck. And we're going to make this happen.
And when we did, literally, I found this truck. Well, I've been scrolling truck paper and just looking at stuff, and this one caught my eye. Main reason is because, well, it's the same color as Fancy. It's Viper Red. I like that. So when they offered us this run, we literally wasted no time, and we pretty much had a deposit on this truck within a week.
Yeah, sorry guys, we've been hiding this from you for about 5 weeks now.
And I apologize if comment answering has been dragging, but I've been a busy man. It's literally Tuesday night. We got to go to work tomorrow. We still got to get dinner, and I just got done working on the truck.
Yeah.
And I didn't get done everything I needed to do.
We had a crazy week last week, as you guys saw, And who knew that an aero truck would bring all the boys to the yard?
I'm telling you.
We were not expecting that at all. You guys blew us away with the comments and the subscribers that have come to the channel. And if you're new, welcome, Bear.
Yes, welcome. For the guys that complain about and said they're leaving, man, we sure gained a lot of new people.
We sure did. Truck, yeah. So
and that wasn't our intent, believe me. We didn't buy this truck for YouTube.
It was just kind of funny how things happen. So, you know, if you would have asked me, that there's the horse whinnying. I don't know if you could see him. It's dinner time. If you would have asked me though, back in September, if I figured we'd be back at SEVA again or owning 2 trucks, I would have said no. Sorry guys, it was getting dark last night, so obviously it is the next day. We're at a different location. If you're wondering, we're in Fernley, Nevada. And well, we weren't done with the video, so we're picking it up where we left off.
We are.
Yeah. So what happened to save the manuals? Well, we bought this truck because it had an automatic, specifically because company drivers, that's what they want to drive these days, guys. It's not about me and Martin's personal preference, although I don't know, some of you seem to have this misconception that we're against automatics because we have our Save the Manual sticker. That's not the case. I mean,
I don't care.
Yeah, we don't really care.
I like my manual, but I don't care if you drive an automatic. I'm not going to make fun of you for it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you know, if we were driving the truck, maybe we would have bought a manual, but
maybe.
Considering this is for company drivers, we want to appeal to the company driver mindset, I guess.
Well, just the comfort, not the mindset, but I would say attract driver. And I mean, it's more of a driver comfort in the end. A lot of drivers nowadays, they want a nice truck to drive, and they'll take care of it if it's a nice truck. But I mean, for the most part, why are you driving a truck? Well, you want to get paid. Well, what do you want out of it? Well, you want it to be comfortable. That's kind of why we went with it.
That's that mindset though, because they want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
They don't want to sit there and be thinking about shifting gears or dealing with clutches. They want easy.
I can tell you right now that if this truck had a manual transmission compared to this automatic, it probably wouldn't get the fuel mileage that this thing does.
No,
it's optimized for fuel mileage.
Exactly. You can never beat the computer on those kind of things. So it is what it is. But nothing against manuals. We still love our manuals, and we bought it because this truck was purchased to be a company driver truck.
Yes, so that's exactly what it's going to be.
Yep. Another thing brought up, carb.
No, we didn't buy this truck because of carb. Not at all whatsoever. We could care less. It's not carb. It is because we needed another truck, and it's an efficient truck and it gets good mileage, and that's why we bought it. I don't care about carb. Yeah. Fancy's going to keep running.
Anything else?
No, that's about it. So that's exactly why this truck's an automatic, and we are still saving the manuals because we still have a manual truck. We do. And this truck is a money maker, and it's not because of carb. It's because we want to make money.
Exactly.
And we like the 579. It was always on my radar. Obviously, you guys did that video with that blue one where you all thought we were trading in Fancy on it.
We actually already had a deal on this truck when we filmed that, just for
we did. Actually, we did.
We did.
Actually, we did. Sorry.
So that was more of a little skit just to be silly, guys.
Yep.
But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this past week. We sure had a good time despite the challenges of the weather that presented to us. The new truck, it's a blast. We like it. We're happy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're interested in working for us and you're out of the Sacramento area, we are specifically looking for a husband and wife team or an established team. So if you are already running with someone, or maybe you have a good friend that you want to run team with and you're interested in working for us, our contact information is in the description box. Shoot us an email and we can talk about it and see if you guys would be a good fit for us.
Yep.
That's it for right now. We got to get back to work. So we'll see you on the road, guys. Toodles.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have baby, my bros rock. No breaks, we go, 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 go. Throw shade, that's a no, 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 no. Go high, go low, low, low. Like spinning in a 644. Cash money like 504.